A racist team kicked the black guy out of their group photo, thinking they could get away with it. But his bold move not only exposed their hypocrisy, it ruined their lives forever, in a way they never expected. It was supposed to be a day of celebration. The sun hung high over the pristine college campus, where a diverse group of students gathered for a team photo in front of the school's iconic fountain. The energy buzzed with excitement. They had worked tirelessly together on a national competition and made it to the finals. Everyone dressed their best, team jerseys, bright smiles, and a sense of pride radiating from each member. Among them was Jordan Bennett, a talented and kind-hearted student who had worked harder than most to earn his place on the team. As the only black member, Jordan faced subtle microaggressions during practices, but brushed them off, focusing instead on his love for the sport and his team's shared goal. Jordan's family had driven 2 hours to see him in the photo, his mum holding her phone tightly, ready to capture every moment, his younger sister wearing a matching jersey, brimming with excitement, and his dad, whose quiet pride was visible in his warm smile. "Jordan, stand over here," called out Emma, one of the team captains, gesturing to an open spot near the middle of the group. Jordan grinned and jogged into position, settling between two teammates. The camera clicked several times, capturing a moment that should have represented unity and teamwork. But as soon as the official photographer left, a different energy filled the air. Back at practice the following day, Jordan was eager to see the final team photo. But as he scrolled through the shared group chat, his stomach dropped. The image posted wasn't the one he remembered. His spot in the center of the group was empty, replaced by a teammate who wasn't even at practice that day. Jordan's voice trembled as he typed into the chat, "Hey, where's the picture with me? I was in the center for the main shot." The chat went silent for an unusually long time before a reply finally popped up. "We decided to go with a cleaner look," Emma wrote, adding a nervous smile emoji. Jordan frowned, his heart sinking. A cleaner look? He stared at the message, feeling the sting of rejection cutting deeper than words. He clicked on the photo again, zooming in. The edit was obvious. His outline was clumsily removed, and the lighting didn't match where his replacement now stood. He called Emma directly, his voice calm but firm. "What's going on with the photo, Emma? Why wasn't I included?" There was a pause before she stammered. "Well, we just thought, for the final image, it made sense to go in a different direction." "It's nothing personal, Jordan. It's just, some of the team felt it looked more cohesive without you." Her words were like a slap in the face. Cohesive. Clean. These were nothing more than thinly veiled excuses for racism. Jordan's chest tightened as the realization hit him. This wasn't an oversight or a mistake. It was intentional. That night, Jordan sat in his room, staring at the photo again, the bright smiles of his teammates mocking him. Tears welled up in his eyes, but he refused to let them fall. His phone buzzed with messages from his mom, asking about the photo and when she could see it. He didn't have the heart to reply. His sister's voice echoed in his mind. "You looked so cool in the middle, Jordan. You're going to be famous." But now, all he could think about was how to face his family. How could he explain that the team he worked so hard for decided he wasn't clean or cohesive enough for their photo? Jordan's dad knocked softly on his door, stepping inside when he didn't answer. "What's wrong, son?" he asked, his tone gentle but concerned. Jordan hesitated before showing his dad the edited photo. He tried to keep his voice steady as he explained what had happened, but his frustration and sadness spilled out. "They erased me, Dad, like I wasn't even there." His dad's face hardened, but his voice remained calm. "Son, listen to me. What they did isn't about you. It's about them. It's their weakness, their prejudice. Don't let them take away the pride you've earned." Jordan nodded, but his heart felt heavy. That night, he decided he couldn't stay silent. He had to act, not just for himself, but for others who faced the same quiet cruelty, disguised as harmless decisions. Jordan opens his laptop and begins crafting a response. But he knows this will be bigger than just one photo. He's about to expose something much deeper. Jordan sat at his desk, the dim light of his laptop illuminating his determined face. His emotions simmered, hurt, anger, and resolve intertwining as he began typing. He wasn't just going to call out the edited photo. He was going to expose the pattern of behavior he'd endured for months. The late-night practices where certain teammates refused to pass him the ball. The whispered jokes he overheard about diversity hires, and now the ultimate betrayal, erasing him entirely from a moment he had worked so hard to be a part of. He wrote with precision, detailing the incident and its impact. The edited photo, a clear attempt to erase his presence. The dismissive excuses, thinly veiled racism, disguised as team cohesion. The bigger picture, the quiet yet pervasive bias that had been building over time. Jordan hesitated as he hovered over the post button. Would this ruin his future? Would he be ostracized even more? But then he thought about his sister's face when she saw the photo, how proud she had been, and how crushed she would feel if she knew the truth. He clicked post and added the caption, "This is what racism looks like in 2025, subtle, quiet, and disguised as team decisions. They didn't just erase me from a photo. They erased my contribution, my hard work, and my worth. But I won't let this go unnoticed." By morning, Jordan's post had gone viral. Comments flooded in, some offering support, others sharing their own stories of being marginalized. Words like heartbreaking, disgusting, and unacceptable peppered the replies. But the most surprising response came from people who knew the team. A former teammate commented, "This isn't the first time this has happened. Jordan is just the first to speak up." Another message appeared in his inbox from a journalist at a national news outlet. "Hi Jordan, I saw your post. I'd like to talk more about your experience for a feature on racism in sports. Let me know if you're interested." Jordan's phone buzzed with a call from Emma, the team captain. He hesitated but picked up. "Jordan," Emma started, her voice shaky. "I don't know why you're blowing this up. It wasn't meant to be a big deal. Now everyone's attacking us." Jordan's voice was steady, but his frustration was palpable. "Emma, do you even hear yourself? You erased me. You and the team decided I didn't belong. And now that people see what you did, you're more worried about your reputation than the harm you caused." Emma stammered, I didn't think it would get this far. I'm sorry if you felt excluded." "If I felt excluded," Jordan shot back. "You literally removed me from the photo. That's not a feeling. It's a fact." He hung up, his hands trembling. The apology wasn't real. It was damage control. As the day unfolded, the school administration released a statement acknowledging the situation. "We are aware of the controversy surrounding the team photo and are investigating the matter to ensure fairness and accountability. We stand against all forms of racism and discrimination." But Jordan wasn't satisfied with a vague acknowledgement. He wanted change. Real change. He agreed to an interview with the journalist, sharing his story and the systemic bias he experienced on the team. The journalist dug deeper, uncovering more incidents involving other minority players who had faced similar treatment, but stayed silent, out of fear. The story hit the national headlines. College team faces backlash after erasing black player from group photo. It wasn't just the photo anymore. It was about the culture that allowed it to happen. By the end of the week, the pressure was mounting. Sponsors associated with the team began pulling their support, citing a zero-tolerance policy for racism. One prominent sponsor tweeted, "We cannot condone discrimination of any kind. Until the team makes amends and takes meaningful steps to address their culture, we are suspending all funding." Jordan watched as the same team that tried to erase him scrambled to contain the damage. The teammates who laughed at racist jokes, the captains who ignored the tension. Now they were all facing the consequences of their actions. But for Jordan, this wasn't just about consequences. It was about sparking a conversation that would outlast the headlines. He wasn't the only one who had been hurt, and he was determined to make sure no one else felt the way he did. As Jordan's story gained momentum, he received an unexpected message from someone he never thought would reach out. A former teammate who had been silent during the photo incident, but now had something important to say. Jordan sat in his room, scrolling through the overwhelming support pouring in from around the world. For every troll spewing hateful comments, there were hundreds of voices cheering him on. The validation was empowering, but it didn't erase the hurt. Amid the flood of notifications, one message stood out. It was from Tyler, one of the more popular teammates on the group. Tyler had always been polite but distant, often hanging out with the same group that whispered jokes about Jordan behind his back. Jordan hesitated before opening the message. "Hey Jordan, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from right now, but I need to tell you something. Can we talk, please? Jordan's first instinct was to ignore it, but something told him to respond. He typed back, "What do you want to say, Tyler?" "I don't have time for excuses." Minutes later, Jordan's phone buzzed. Tyler was calling. Jordan let it ring twice before answering. "Jordan," Tyler began, his voice uncertain, "I need to say I'm sorry. Not just for the photo, but for everything. I knew what they were doing and I didn't stop it. I laughed along. I was a coward." Jordan's grip on the phone tightened. "Why are you telling me this now? Because the world is watching?" Tyler's voice broke slightly. "Partly, yeah. But mostly because I've been carrying this guilt for months. I should have stood up for you when I saw the way they treated you. I didn't. And that's on me." Jordan was silent for a moment. The anger he expected to feel replaced by something more complicated. "If you knew it was wrong, why didn't you do anything?" "I was scared," Tyler admitted. "I thought if I spoke up I'd be next, that I'd lose my place on the team or my friends. But after seeing what you've done, I realized how weak I was. You're braver than all of us combined." Tyler's words hung in the air, heavy with regret. Jordan sighed. "It's not about bravery, Tyler. It's about doing what's right. You don't have to be brave to speak up. You just have to care enough to try." There was a long pause before Tyler spoke again. "I want to help fix this. Tell me what I can do." Jordan's response was measured. "Start by being honest. If you really mean this, don't just apologize to me. Admit what happened to everyone. The team, the school, the public. Own up to your part in it." Tyler agreed. By the next morning, he had posted a heartfelt message online. "I was part of a team that wronged Jordan Bennett. I stood by while my teammates erased him from our photo and disrespected him for months. I was complicit in their behavior, and for that, I'm deeply sorry. Jordan has shown more courage than I ever could, and I will do whatever it takes to make things right." The post quickly gained traction. For some, it validated Jordan's claims even further. For others, it painted Tyler as a hypocrite who was only apologizing now because of public backlash. As the school administration's investigation continued, Jordan began to see the ripple effects of his stand. Several teammates came forward to share their apologies, some publicly, others privately. The team captain, Emma, stepped down from her leadership role, releasing a statement that read, "I take full responsibility for my role in this incident. I failed as a leader and as a teammate. I'm sorry for the pain I caused Jordan and others who felt excluded." The administration announced new initiatives, including mandatory diversity training for all athletic teams, and a review of leadership policies to ensure incidents like this wouldn't happen again. Despite the progress, Jordan still struggled with the emotional toll of the experience. Walking through campus, he felt the stares, some admiring, others judgmental. People knew his name now, not for his talents, but for the controversy. One day, as he sat under a tree near the quad, his younger sister ran up to him, holding her tablet. "Jordan, look at this," she said, showing him a video compilation of people sharing messages of support. One woman, a former college athlete, said, "Jordan, you're a hero. I faced discrimination too, but I was too scared to speak out. Thank you for standing up for all of us." Jordan felt his throat tighten as he watched. The weight he had been carrying felt a little lighter. That evening, he posted one final update. "This fight isn't just about me. It's about all of us who've been silenced, erased, or dismissed. Change doesn't happen overnight, but together, we can make sure no one else has to go through this. Thank you to everyone who stood with me. This is just the beginning." Just as Jordan begins to find closure, an unexpected invitation arrives in his inbox, a chance to tell his story on one of the biggest national platforms. Will he accept the opportunity to make an even greater impact? Jordan opened his inbox and stared at the email for a moment, his heartbeat quickening. The subject line read, "An invitation to share your story, National Network Spotlight." The email was from a senior producer at Voices of Change, a widely watched news program known for highlighting stories of resilience and social justice. Jordan read through the message carefully. "We've been following your story and the incredible impact it has made. We believe it's time the nation hears directly from you. Your courage is inspiring, and we would love to invite you for an exclusive interview to discuss your journey and the changes it sparked. Please let us know if you'd like to join us next week." Jordan's hand hovered over his keyboard. The thought of sharing his story on such a massive platform was daunting. He had already faced so much scrutiny and hate online. Would this make things worse? But then he thought of the messages he had received. The woman who called him a hero, the young students thanking him for speaking out. With a deep breath, Jordan typed his response. "I'd be honored. Let me know the details." A week later, Jordan found himself in the bustling studio of Voices of Change. Bright lights, the hum of cameras, and the buzz of the crew added to his nervous energy. He sat in the green room, scrolling through his phone. His dad texted, "Proud of you, son. Speak your truth. We'll be watching." When the producer came to escort him to the set, Jordan stood tall, his heart pounding with equal parts anxiety and determination. The host, a seasoned journalist named Monica Rivera, greeted Jordan warmly as he took his seat under the glaring studio lights. The cameras rolled, and the interview began. "Jordan," Monica started, "thank you for being here. Your story has resonated with millions of people. To start, can you tell us what happened the day you found out you were removed from the team photo?" Jordan recounted the events, his voice steady but laced with emotion. He shared how seeing the edited photo made him feel invisible, erased. Not just from the picture, but from the work he had poured into the team. Monica leaned forward. "You didn't stay silent, though. What gave you the strength to stand up and speak out?" Jordan paused, thinking of his family. "I thought about my younger sister. She looks up to me, and I didn't want her to grow up thinking it's okay to let people treat you like you don't belong. I also thought about the other people, on my campus, in sports, anywhere, who've been quietly enduring the same kind of discrimination. If I could help change that, even just a little, then I had to try." The interview shifted to the fallout. Monica asked, "Since going public, your story has sparked widespread attention. But with that, you've also faced backlash. How have you handled the negativity?" Jordan's expression hardened slightly. "At first it hurt. People called me overly sensitive, accused me of overreacting. But then I realized their comments said more about them than about me. For every hateful comment, there were 10 people who supported me, and I chose to focus on that." Toward the end of the interview, Monica asked a question that caught Jordan off guard. "What's next for you, Jordan? You've already made such an impact. Do you see yourself continuing this work beyond the team photo?" Jordan hesitated. He had been so focused on surviving the immediate fallout that he hadn't thought about the bigger picture. But now, sitting in front of millions of viewers, the answer became clear. "I do," he said firmly. "This isn't just about me. It's about making sure that no one else has to feel erased, excluded, or silenced. Whether that means working with schools, sports organizations, or communities, I want to help create spaces where everyone feels they belong." Monica smiled. "That's incredible, Jordan. Thank you for sharing your story with us." After the interview aired, Jordan's inbox overflowed with messages from organizations, activists, and even professional athletes offering to collaborate. A national anti-discrimination initiative reached out, inviting him to join their board as a youth ambassador. Jordan's story became a rallying cry for change. Schools and colleges across the country began revising their diversity and inclusion policies, citing his case as a turning point. Even his former team wasn't immune to the ripple effects. The school implemented a zero-tolerance policy for discrimination, disbanded the current leadership structure of the team, and required all players to complete workshops on equity and inclusion. Through it all, Jordan felt himself changing. What started as a personal fight for justice had become a mission to uplift others. He no longer saw himself as just a victim, but as a catalyst for change. One day, as he walked across campus, a young student stopped him. "Jordan, I just wanted to say thank you. Because of you, I feel like I can finally speak up when something's wrong." Jordan smiled. "That's why I did it." As Jordan embraces his role as a changemaker, a new challenge arises. A chance to speak at one of the biggest sports conferences in the country. But with the national stage comes even greater pressure. Will he rise to the occasion? Weeks after his story went viral, Jordan received an invitation to speak at the National Sports Leadership Summit, one of the largest gatherings of athletes, coaches, and sports professionals in the country. The theme of this year's summit was Redefining Leadership Through Inclusion. The email read, "We've been inspired by your courage and the impact of your story. We'd be honored to have you as a keynote speaker to share your experience and vision for creating inclusive spaces in sports and beyond." Jordan stared at the screen, his heart racing. Speaking on a national platform like this was a dream for many, but it came with immense pressure. His family, his peers, and even those who criticized him would be watching. Could he deliver a message powerful enough to make a difference? Jordan spent days reflecting on his journey and crafting his speech. Late one evening, as he sat at the kitchen table surrounded by notes, his mom walked in. "You look like you've been staring at that paper for hours," she said, setting a cup of tea in front of him. Jordan sighed. This feels bigger than me. I don't want to mess it up." His mom placed a hand on his shoulder. "Jordan, you've already proven you can handle anything. Just speak from the heart. That's what got you this far." Her words gave him the clarity he needed. He decided his speech would focus on three things: the power of unity, what teams can achieve when everyone is valued; the courage to speak out, why silence only helps injustice grow; the importance of action, turning awareness into meaningful change. The day of the summit arrived, and Jordan stood backstage, listening to the MC introduce him. The room buzzed with anticipation. Hundreds of influential figures in sports sat in the audience, and millions more would watch the broadcast online. As Jordan stepped onto the stage, the applause was thunderous, but he focused on the faces before him. Taking a deep breath, he began, "Good morning. My name is Jordan Bennett, and not too long ago I was erased. Not just from a photo, but from a moment I worked hard to earn. That experience taught me something I'll never forget. When we stay silent in the face of injustice, we become part of the problem." He paused, letting the words sink in before continuing. "But this isn't just my story. It's the story of countless people who've been excluded, overlooked, or dismissed because they didn't fit someone else's idea of belonging. And it's not just about racism. It's about every form of prejudice that holds us back from being the best teams, organizations, and communities we can be." Jordan shared his journey, the pain of being excluded, the decision to speak up, and the impact that followed. He spoke about the power of standing together and how even small acts of courage can spark massive change. "True leadership," he said in closing, "isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about using your voice to lift others up, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable, because only then can we create spaces where everyone feels they belong." The room erupted in applause, and Jordan felt a wave of relief and pride wash over him. After his speech, Jordan was approached by athletes, coaches, and executives who wanted to collaborate on initiatives to promote inclusion in sports. One coach from a Division I team said, "Your story reminded me why I got into coaching in the first place. Thank you for inspiring us to do better." Jordan's speech became a defining moment of the summit, trending on social media and sparking conversations in boardrooms, locker rooms, and classrooms across the country. Months later, Jordan launched his own initiative, Erased No More, a program designed to empower students and athletes to speak out against injustice and foster inclusive environments. Through workshops, mentorship programs, and community events, he turned his pain into a purpose that helped others find their voices. His story also led to broader changes at his school and beyond. The incident with the photo became a case study on how subtle forms of discrimination can cause lasting harm, and it inspired institutions to implement stricter accountability measures for inclusive practices. One afternoon, as Jordan walked across campus, he noticed a group of students gathered around the school's bulletin board. He approached and saw a newly printed team photo, one that included a diverse group of students smiling together. One of the students turned to him and said, "You're Jordan, right? Because of you, things feel different here." "Better," Jordan smiled, the weight of his journey finally lifting. "Thanks. But this isn't just about me. It's about all of us." As he walked away, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. His fight wasn't over, but he was no longer just a victim of injustice. He was a leader, a change maker, and a voice for those who couldn't yet speak for themselves. Jordan's journey from being erased to becoming a national advocate for inclusion demonstrated the power of speaking up. His boldness not only exposed hypocrisy, but also inspired systemic change, proving that one voice can echo loud enough to change the world.